Neuroplasticity is a very interesting and exciting concept and term, and could be its own discussion, and probably is its own discussion in all kinds of podcast sources and even books. And so, just kind of briefly, it's the concept that these connections in our brain, so all of these cells in the brain, the neurons, the things that can be damaged in a brain injury, the way that they connect with one another and signal to one another and sort of speak to one another, and the patterns of those connections are the things that we have learned to do. So as we learn to do something new, whether it's a physical skill, whether it's a cognitive skill, whether it's a coordination pattern, all of those are represented as connections between neurons in our brain. And so a brain injury damages or disrupts those connect networks, and we kind of lose skills, or skills that we've learned are disrupted. And it was thought for a long time that those structures in the brain and some of those connections were sort of fixed, static, and sort of predetermined, that the brain was hardwired, to use kind of an older term, and that if you broke those connections and you disrupted them, there was no coming back from that, because the brain was sort of static and fixed, and it developed the way it developed. So neuroplasticity is a newer concept in sort of understanding neuroscience and brain function. I say new, but it's like 30 or 40 years old now, but we're still kind of coming to grips with the implication. And what it is that these connections in the brain are plastic, in that they're changeable. And so we're able to learn and make new connections throughout our lifetime, and that the brain that was thought to be a static structure is really not, that it's a very changeable structure. And the nature and the amount of change can be really significant, that we can, with practice, sort of rewire the brain and really significantly change these networks and these connections. And it's exciting because the implication of that is that after an injury, there's significant relearning that someone can do. And so after a stroke, or after a major brain injury, or even a minor brain injury, with practice, with using the brain, we're actually able to form new connections, learn new ways of doing something that maybe was lost to an injury.